Good morning everyone. Today we are going to see the SQL built-in functions. Built-in functions such as lower, upper, reverse length, itrim, rtrim, trim, length, right, mid, concat, now, time, date, current date, day, month, year, day name, month name, abs, pow. Then we have mod, round and sqrt. So these are all the functions which are called as the built-in functions and which is already available in MySQL. Okay, so today we are going to see this one by one. The first one that you can see is the upper function over here. Okay, so how does upper function is being used? As you can see over here, convert the text to uppercase, that is select upper. SQL tutorial is fun. So when you write anything in that function, what will happen? It will change into capital letters. For example, the definition is given over here. The upper function converts a string to uppercase. So which is also used as ucase. Okay, so you can write upper or you can write ucase. So both are same over here. The simple syntax we follow over here is upper. Within the parenthesis we need to provide the text. So text is the string that we need to give and to which we want to do what? Convert it into uppercase. Okay. Now getting to the examples, if we talk about, like for example here you can see convert the text in customer name to uppercase. So how we can do that? By using the simple command. The command is select upper customer name as uppercase customer name from customers. So what will happen? From the customer table, the column which is named as customer name is going to be fetched and afterwards it is converted into uppercase. Okay, and the column name will be now displayed as uppercase customer name. So this is how we are using the uppercase syntax in our SQL statements. Okay, coming to the next function which is called as trim, T-R-I-M, trim. So remove leading and trailing spaces from a string. Select trim SQL tutorials as trimmed string. Okay, so this is what we said as the trim function does. So trim function does what? Actually remove the space. If there are space, like if you're writing a full name and in that full name there are multiple spaces coming over there, so you can remove that space using the function, and this function is called as trim function. Okay, so basically what is the use of this trim function? It is used to remove the space, that is the space which is one in front of the characters. Okay, and then the trailing one. Trailing means at the end, starting spaces and ending spaces. The syntax over here is trim and then you need to provide the string. Parameter values are here. Require the string to remove leading and trailing spaces from. Okay, so this is why we are using the trim function over here to remove the space, that is starting space and the ending space of the characters and words. Okay, next one function is rtrim. So rtrim is same as this of the trim. The only difference is remove the trailing spaces from a string. Trailing means the ending one, that is afterwards. So whenever we write any words and afterwards if there are some spaces, so this rtrim will do what? Remove the afterwards spaces. That is something called as right spaces. Okay, so rtrim function remove the trailing spaces from a string, that you can see over here, rtrim followed by the string, that is a parameter that you need to provide over here. Parameter values you can see over here, strings, that is required the string to remove the trailing spaces from. So that is simple words. When we want to remove the space from like the word which is afterwards, and then we can use these functions. Then we have the reverse function. So what does the reverse do? It's simply the name suggests, like it will write in reverse order. So here the reverse function reverses string and returns the result. Okay, the syntax that we use is select reverse and then the string that we want to pass over here. So the syntax, as I told you, reverse and then parenthesis, you need to provide the string. So whichever the string that you want to write in reverse order, you can do that. The function is reverse. So as you can see, reverse the text in customer name. So like sometimes what we need to do, we need to reverse the name and then check it out from the customer point of view. So here we are using what? Select reverse customer name from customer table. Okay. Then next one which you have over here, that is called as MySQL mid function. So what is the mid does over here? Extracts a substring from a string starting at position 5, extract 3 characters. That we can do with the help of mid function. So if we have a full name or like father's name, initial name and so on, so from there what we can do, we can extract a specific string. Okay, select mid SQL tutorial 5,3 as a string. So what it will do, start position will be 5, okay, and ending position, that is, it defines 3 characters. So from there it will only fetch 3 characters only. Okay, then coming to the next one, definition and usage. So the mid function extracts a substring from a string starting at any position. Okay, in simple words. So whatever the position you will define, from there it will fetch the strings for you based on the defined input, that how many characters or alphabets that you wanted to be fetched. Okay, so the mid and the substring functions equals the substring function over here. So substring is same as substring as mid function. Okay, so you can see the syntax: mid, string, comma, start, comma, length. So this is the 3 informations that you need to provide with the mid function. The string, that is the word that you want to search, required string to extract from. Then starting point, like we are defining the starting point where required the start position can be both a positive or negative number. So if it's a positive number, this exact function from the beginning of the string, and if it is a negative number, the function extracts from the end of the string. Okay, so this is what you need to check it over here. Then you have the length function, required the number of characters to be extracted. For example, extract a substring from the text in a column that is starting at position 2. Extract 5 characters over here. So select mid, customer name 2,5 as extract string from customers. So this is how we do what? We will extract the information. Okay. Example, extract a substring from a string started from the end. A position might be like -5, extract 5 characters and so on. So you can write the syntax like this: select mid and then round bracket open, double inverted commas, we provide the string, and then afterwards we'll write it down as -5, which is the starting point, and 5 is the character that we'll need to extract from there. Okay, so this is how we can use both positive values and negative values. Okay. Now we have another function which is called as MySQL ltrim function. So what it does, remove the leading spaces from a string. Leading means like when there is a beginning space in front of that alphabets or characters or names. So over that time you can use the of ltrim. We can use simply the ltrim function over here. So definition and usage. So ltrim functions simply does what? Remove the leading spaces from a string. Ltrim string. So parameters string, it is required the string to remove the leading spaces from. Okay, this is the part that we have over here. So remove is what? Leading spaces. So if there are some spaces, if you want to remove them, you can do that based on what? This function. Okay. MySQL lower function converts a text to lowercase. So select lower. SQL tutorial is fun. So what will happen? It will convert into lowercase, that is small characters only. So this function converts a string to lowercase. So lcase function is equal to lowercase. That means you can use two functions which are equal, and the thing is the lower will do the same as the L case. So either you can use lowercase or either you can use the L case functions over here. Okay. Now the syntax. So how does the syntax looks like? Lower text, and then you will define it in the parameters as the text over here. So here parameter text is like required the string to be converted. So whichever the string that you want to convert in small letters. So this is how we can do it over here. Okay. Then more examples are there. So here convert the text in customer name to lowercase. So for example, select lower customer name as lowercase customer name from customers. Okay. So this is what we are going to define over here, and this is something called as the conversion. That is convert the text in the customer name to lowercase. Okay. Then next function over here is MySQL concat function. So concatenation will do what? Try to join two words, characters. So at that time we can use what? Concat. Like for example, I want to join first name and the last name. I can use the help of this function. So here add several strings together. Select concat SQL comma tutorial is fun. So what we'll do as concatenate strings, all these words are being concatenated with each other using the function, and which is the function? Concat function, that is joining all the words together. So definition and the usage. The concat function adds two or more expressions together. Please note also that concat uses concat underscore ws function. Okay, so this is an alternate function for that concat or concat function. Okay, clear? So I hope so this is clear to everyone. Coming to the next one. This is how you can write the concat function. The syntax given as expression 1, expression 2, expression 3, and so on. So there is no limit of the expression. You want to write it down as much as you want, you can write it down over here. So this is how we use the concat function. So expressions are nothing but the strings that we are providing over here, and the string that you can see over here is given like this. So you need to check it out, like require the expression to add together. So note, if any of the expression is a null value, it will always return a null. That means if there is nothing defined over there, it will give you as null. Okay, so I hope so this is clear to everyone. So some of the examples from the concat function point of view, as you can see, add 3 columns into one address column, so that we can do it over here with the help of what? Select. So select concat address comma space, then comma postal code space comma city as address from customer. So what this command will do, it will add the 3 columns together with the space, and then it will show it over there as an address column. So in actually these are the 3 columns, and these 3 columns are merged together to see it as one single column to the customer. So this is something called as concat function. So now the second function is called as sqrt, square root. Okay, this is something called as a mathematical function we use over here. So what is this mathematical function doing over here? Example, like return the square root of a number. Like for example, as you can see over here, like return the square root as select sqrt the function, and then you write the number in the parentheses, and that's it. So this is how we do what? Find the square root. So normally in mathematics we use this function. We can use this function over here in SQL as well as. Okay, so definition, you can see The sqrt function or sqrt function returns the square root of a number. So whenever you need to find the square root of a number, you can use this function. The function is named as sqrt. Okay. Syntax is given over here, sqrt number, and then the parameter over here. So the parameter is nothing but the number that we are providing over here, and from the number point of view that they are defining as required, a number to calculate the square root of a number must be greater than 0. So 0 you can not put it over here. Okay, so that is one thing that you need to define over here. Negative values and zeros are not allowed in sqrt function. Okay. More examples we can see over here, like return square root of a number. So select sqrt 13. So what it will do, it will give you the square root of 13 number. Okay, then we have another function which is called as the round function. So what does the round function does? That is round the number to 2 decimal places. That is select round 135.375 comma 2. So what it will give you, it will give you 135.37. Okay, so this is called as round up to 2 decimal places as default. The definition that you can see, the round function rounds a number to a specified number of decimal places. So this is how we can do what? Define the round function over here. Okay. Then you can see over here floor function. So floor, seal, ceiling, truncate functions. So these all functions are related to what? Round functions. Okay, so they are somewhat, we can say, that are mathematical functions and they all are being used. Okay. So if you want to use the syntax over here, the syntax is round, number in the parenthesis you need to give, and then you need to define the decimal values over here. So this is how we do what? Define the round function. Okay. So parameter values are number, that is required the number to be rounded. Decimal, optional, that is the number of decimal places to round the number. 2. If omitted, it returns the integer, that is no decimal. Okay. So basically speaking, like in simple words, what they're trying to tell you is, whenever you are going to round the number, so it should be a positive value first thing. Okay. And if you are talking about the decimal places, the number of decimal places to round the number to, that we need to define over here in the decimal one. Okay. If omitted, it returns the integer, that is not no decimal. That means if it is not there in the system, it will return a decimal value to you. Okay. So here, this is something that you need to remember from the function round. Next one, you can see the examples over here that will give you a clear idea like how does the round function works over here. So the round the number to 0, that is decimal places. So you can use like this, select round 345.556. That decimal values will be removed from there in simple words. So it will be now giving us 345 only. Now there is another example that you can see over here, round the price column to 1 decimal. In the product table, select product name, comma price, comma round price, comma 1 as rounded price from products. So product tables we are using it, and then there what we are doing, we are using the round function, and the round function is being used on the price value. Okay, and based on that we are displaying the value as a column name, and that column name is called as rounded price. Okay, that we normally see in the shopping malls and the market where you go and purchase something. So there they use what? Round function. Same as it is over here. Okay. Then comes a POW function. So returns 4 raised to the second power. Okay, so this is the example that they're trying to tell you. So if we can provide the value as select power 4 comma 2. Okay, so this is what we define it over here as power. Power is nothing but we calculate the multiples of that number. We use the word as power function. Okay. So here, sorry, the power function returns the value of a number raised to the power of another number. The function is equals to power function. Okay, so you can write POW or you can write POWER. Both the functions are same. So how to write it down? POW round bracket open x comma y. So this is how we define the power of the function. So x, that is required a number, the base, and again y, which is also required a number, the exponent. So you cannot leave it as empty, blank or null. That is not allowed over here. Okay. Some more examples over here. Raised, written 8 raised to the third power, and like select power 8 comma 3. So this is how we can define. So this is how we can do what? Return the 8 raised to the third power. Okay, so 8 and then power 3. So 8 ones are 8 eights are, and then again 8. So there are 3 times 8. We can write like this in power 8 comma 3. Okay. The next one we have the mod function over here. So mod will return the remainder. So whenever you need to check the remainder of a value, we can use the function as mod. So returns a remainder of like 18 divided by 4. So whatever the remainder will be there, it will be returned as a result. So don't misunderstand the mod function with the others functions like a round of functions and so on. So they are different. Round is used for different purpose and mod is used for different purposes, like with respect to the power also. Okay. So mod function doesn't do anything. It just returns the remainder value. So whatever the remainder is there, it will not return you the quotient or the dividend. No, it will return with the remainder part. Okay. So here mod function returns the remainder of a number divided by another number. So whatever the dividend, whatever the values will be there, that is already been discussed. Okay. So basically speaking, mod function is what? Doing what? Returns the remainder of a number divided by another number. So whenever you are going to divide a value with another value, we get a remainder, and that remainder will be checked by whom? Displayed by whom? Mod function. Okay. Syntax that you can see over here, it's not that much difficult. As you can see, mod x comma y, x mod y or x percent y. So this is all acceptable in MySQL. Okay. Then parameter values are there, x and y. So required a value that will be divided by y, and y that is required the divisor. So these two values are required for mod function. Okay. Like you can write like this, select 18 mod comma 4. That is the same one example that we have seen over here. Now next function is ABS, something called as absolute value. Okay. So ABS function that you can see over here returns the absolute value of a number. Select ABS minus 243.5. So this is how does what? Define the absolute value for a given number. Okay. Definition and usage. ABS function returns the absolute positive value of a number. That has been done over here. Okay, and the syntax is given as ABS then number. So basically speaking, the number, which is the value that we want to define, and we want to define based on what? Absolute. So it will return you an exact value, that whatever you want to search, that what you want to find, we can use this function value. Okay. Okay, I think so this is clear. So here MySQL current date function is there. So here MySQL current date function we can use to simply do what? Define the date over here. Okay. Returns a current date, select current date, definition and usage. Current date function returns a current date over here. Note the date is written in the format of YYYMMDD as a numeric value. This function is equals to the current date. Current date, for example, return the current date plus 1. So select current date plus 1. So this is how we can use it over there. So whatever the date will be there in the system, it will be fetched, and based on that it will do one increment in that date. So this is how we can use the current date function over here. Okay. Now the next function is called as date function. So what is the date function does over here? Extract the date part, that is select date from that value, and definition and the usage is given. The date function extracts the date part from a date time expression. So whatever the date time format is there, the date time expression will be used, and based on that we can fetch the values. Okay. Then definition and the usage. Date function extracts the date part from the date expression in simple words. So whatever the date is there in the date time format, from there it will fetch the date value only. So date, and then we need to define the expression. So the parameters that you can see over here, expression required a valid date and time value, returns null if the expression is not a date or time, date and time. Okay. So if you provide the exact value, then and only then it will give you the return value. Otherwise, it will not return a value for you. So that is, date format should be there, like you slash or dash or hyphen that you need to define over here. Like this. So this is extract the date part from this pattern. So what it will do, it will display the date from that only, the complete date and time. Okay, so it will not display the time, it will only display the date. So extract the date part will return the null value. So select date, the date is this. So here we are writing a string, and this is not a valid one. So what will do, it will not give you some value, it will always give you null values. Okay, so that you need to keep it in mind. The next function that is called as MySQL day function. Okay, so day function is nothing but the day we want to display from that date and time. So what we can use the function is called as day. So you can see that, like select day, comma, round bracket open, double inverted commas, and then you type the date. So from the date, what it is going to fetch? Day. So the function day returns the day of the month of a given number, a number from 1 to 31. So it's either 1 or either 31. In between that, it will find it out, and then it will display it over there. So this function equals to day of month function. So you can use this function, or either you can go for the other one that is called as day of the month. Okay, so both are same. Then parameter values are there, date, that is required the date to extract the day from. So this is what we define over here as the date function. Okay, so more examples are given over here. As you can see, return the day of the month, okay, from a date, that is select day, and then you define the format. This is how it does, it fetches the value. Okay, Return the day of the month of the current system date. Select day, current date. So MySQL day name functions will do what? Display the name, weekend or the weekday's name. So if you want, specifically speaking, if you want the day from the current date, we can use the function. Example is given as select day, current date. So this is how we can do what? Like we can find the system date, and after the system date or the specific date that you have, and then what you can do, from that date we can fetch the day value. So this is the syntax that we can write it over there in SQL. Okay. Now coming to the next one, MySQL day name. So day name function is nothing but like it will display the weekdays names. Select day name 2017 16 15. So from there what it will do, search in the calendar and display the day name. Okay. So the day name functions returns a weekday name for a given date. So this is how we use it over here. Okay. Syntax day name, and then we define the date over here. Parameters can be defined as date, so require the date to be extract the weekday from, like name from. So whenever there is a date and time format, within that date and time format, we need to fetch the date only. So at that time, we can use this function. So other examples contains like return the weekdays name for a date, select the day name, and return the weekday's name of the current system date, select day name, current date. So these all informations will be there with the help of what? Day name. So whenever we need to fetch the day name from the complete format, we can use the function. And what is the name of the function? Day name. Okay. Okay. Then we have MySQL month function. So what we have, the month function, you can see it over here. It's not that much difficult. So return the month part of the date, that is select month, and then you can define the parameter over here. Okay. So here the date is been defined over here. From the date one, what it will do, it will check the month and then it will display the month name. So the month function returns the month part of a given date, a number from 1 to 12. So normally it will display month that is starting from 1st to 12th. That's it. Okay. Like from January to December. That's the only thing. From that date format. So require the date and or date and time to extract the month from. So this is how we can do what? Fetch the data. Okay, that is called as date from date and time. Returns a month part of a day, like select month, and then we use the months. So as we are fetching the day, now can we also fetch the month? The only difference is we can use the month over here. Another example that you can see over here, like return the month part of the current system date, select month, current date. This is how what we can do. We can check the month from the given date and time format and we can fetch it over here. Okay. Then coming to next one, MySQL now function. So what is the now function? It's not nothing but what are the current system date and time is exact right now. It will show that to you. So what is the command? Select and then followed by what? Now. So the now function returns the current date and time. What it does? The now function returns the current date and time. Okay. So this is how we can use the functions over here. So the date and the time is written as YYY, MM, DD, and hours, minutes, and seconds. So this is something that we defined over here, and now function will do what? It will show in complete format over here in detailed one. Okay. Syntax is be given like now. Okay. So in simple words, the now function will do what? It will display the exact date and time of the system in short. That's it. So whatever the date and time is there in your system tray, that will be displayed over here using this function, and the function is called as now function. Okay. The examples are given over here that you can use. Return date and time plus time 1. So what it will do, whatever the date will be there or the time will be there, it will do what? Add 1 to it, and then it will display. So this is the function that we are using over here. Select now plus 1. So what it will do, it will add 1 date plus time to it. So and then it will display it over here. So this function is called as now, will be used in this format. Okay. The next one, which is called as a time function. So as you can see, the time that we are using from the date and time. So now we are not like looking into the date part, we are now looking into the time part. So extract the time from part from a time expression. So select time, and then you define the parameter time over there. Okay. So this is how we do what? Define the time over here. Okay. So time is nothing but from the date and time part, we are just actually calculating the time part over here. So this is how we can define it over here. Okay. And then how the time function extracts the time part from a given date and time, we can use this syntax. Okay. The syntax is time, and then we need to define the expression. So and then this is the how we can fetch the time from the date and time function. Okay. So if the time doesn't exist, so it's not a valid one. So what it will return? It will return a null value. Okay. So for example, extract the time part from the date and time expression. So we can use this one. Select time, and then we define the date and time over there. So from there, date will not be fetched, only the time will be fetched over here, because the function we are using over here is time. Okay. Then another example that you can see, select time, this. Okay. So here, if you're defining the time format like this, so again what it will do, it will try to fetch the values from there itself. So if it doesn't get anything, what it will return? It will return a null value. Okay. So extract the time part from the null. So we can use this one. Select time, null over here. Okay. The next one function is called as year function. So returns the year part of a date. Like for example, select year and then 2017 6/15. So what it will give you? It will give you the year from the date function. Okay. Just like the month we have used, the day we have used, now we are using what? Year. So the year function returns the year part of the given number, and the value ranges from 1000 to 99999. Okay. Syntax is year, and then you need to write in the parenthesis date. So date, that is required the date and time to extract the year from. So returns the year part of the date. Select year, like you can select year like this. So from there, whatever happens, date and time, like the year only will be displayed. Return the year part of the current system date. So that is how we write it down in simple. Select year, and then we write it down in the round brackets as current date. So from the current date, it will display only the year. That's it. Okay. Then we have month name over here function. So what happens? Like month name will be displayed from there. So that is, we use the word as month name. Okay. So the month name function returns the name of the month of a given date. So whatever the date you give it, so it will return the month for that specific day. This is something called as month name. And the parameter that you can see over here require the date or time value to extract the month. So we can use this function, which is the function called as month name. Some of the examples, like if you write select month name from the date and time, so what it will get the month names for you. Okay, as it is not here, only day like is there, the month is there, and the year is there. So from there, month name will be displayed only. Written the name of the month of the current system date. So you can write like this: select month name and then non brackets current date. Okay. So these are all the functions that we see today, and these all functions are being used in SQL. So I want you to write down all these functions into your notebook, because this is what you're going to do in the practicals also. Okay, so you need to write it down, because these all functions that you are going to use over here will be used in the practicals as well as. Okay, so that's it for today. So have a good day to all, and then see you in the next lecture. Bye everyone, take care.